Hello, it's spring 2025 and just organized the van on a Friday afternoon. Figured it would be a good time for a quick van tour. So this is our compact setup for residential remodeling. Sprinter 144. We have the Bott van racking system and partition installed. So starting on the passenger side, in the back here, we've got our levels. We've got leaf blower for cleaning off the job site and tools at the end of the day. Behind here, I've got my job site magnet and my Swiffer for cleaning interior spaces. Hanging up above, we have our 100-foot extension cord. And kind of nested into this side is my DeWalt miter saw stand, and if you open up the extension just a little bit, it kind of like will clamp to the frame, which has never moved on me, so that's been a good storage spot for that. Along the bottom we have all of our batteries and some chargers up front. And let's see here, climb inside. So on the bottom I've got stacked sustainer with impact and hammer drill, and then inside here is all of our driver bits, drill bits, paddle bits, any extension you could want. Keep some hex wrenches in here. We got plug cutters and also countersinks, centering bits in there as well. So all that stuff is kind of in one go kit there. Up above that, I've got a stack with all my trim finish nail consumables. So we got brad, 15 gauge pin nails. I've got my reset blades, jigsaw blades. In here I keep spare circular saw, or just really various tool blades and multi-tool blades. And then up above here is keep a jigsaw and multi-tool, and try to keep a battery in there because we grab this one often. So that's ready to go. That lives up here. And then up above here I keep a tool bag, and this really never leaves the van. It's just kind of a convenient place to keep a lot of small hand tools that I don't keep in my tool belt. So yeah, I got chisels, hand plane, specialty screwdrivers, files, vinyl tools, mallets, just random stuff in there, and that lives here. There you go. And then up next we've got our paint kit and just kind of general like finish phase kit. So I keep some nail filler in here, hole filler, magic erasers, rags. Below that I have some mini rollers and some brushes just in case we have to do a touch-up. And then up here we've got some, try to keep some chip brushes in here and foam brushes, kind of low, primer pen, one sanding block, and some more sponges and erasers. And then we got some putty knives, some wood filler, and some kind of a squeegees for spreading finish around. And gotta have one of these little cabinet fix sticks. Up above here I've got all my mini go kits for kind of specialty stuff for remodeling. So I've got stuff for working with flashing, got my electrical go kit, pliers, various vice grips, everything that cuts up here, so extra utility knives and scissors. Got all my awls and kind of like funky picks and stuff in here. And then stuff for emergency plumbing work, shark bites, fern coes, pipe cutters. That all lives in here. And then I'm still kind of working on this setup up here, but for now I've got glue essentials. So I keeping a tight bond in here, little glue spreader kit, and some activator here for 2P10, Collins clamps, biscuits, This is kind of dead space as of right now, so we'll see. It's gonna go there, and then I've got some measuring equipment up here, so stud finding, various chalk lines, and then a string line. And then up above, I keep my 4x8 Bora system kind of just like bungeed here, and it actually works really well. It never moves around. I mean, it kind of just like chills up here, but yeah, it seems like a good place to store that, and try to keep clamps wherever I can in the van. And up next, I've got my rotary hammer here, and keep all of the kind of like masonry bits inside that sustainer. I've got a just a DeWalt kind of basic cordless sander, and some Rockler bench dogs there, or sorry, bench cookies. We use this is just kind of for rough work, exterior stuff, sanding an outside miter or something. Up on a ladder, and then backstock of sandpaper. That's in there. I suppose I should show you the rotary hammer setup. It's pretty straightforward, but got the rotary hammer, some bits in there, got the dust collection set up, and then this thing for scraping up flooring. This is keep my power planer and recip saw in here, and it fits just so, but works pretty good for that. And then up here is all my cordless nailer. So I've got a pin nailer, an 18 gauge brad nailer, and a 15 gauge finish nailer all in there, and some smaller batteries, which I only really use on a nail gun anyway. That's that. And then up above here, just some various stuff. We got trash bags, work gloves, nitrile gloves, first aid kit, rechargeable AA and AAA batteries, some tools for working on the van right here. Up above, I've got a shingle bar. I've got a big cat's paw kind of dropped in there. And then I've got my Irwin pry bar, Stanley pry bar dropped in here. It kind of just goes right in there. Some extra smaller clamps here, and then I keep just a kind of crappy sponge there. And then moving to the end of this side, I've got 2 caulking guns, and this is actually a new place for these, but hopefully this is going to work out because we're grabbing these often and usually just want to throw them back in here when we're done. Keep my tool belt here. Got a Badger, just carpentry tool belt. And then let's jump down here for a second, move our way around the van. So in this little kind of nook here, I keep kneeling pad. I keep this yoga mat here for just random times where I want to protect a surface, or kind of just a different kneeling option. And then I've got an extension cord here, and then way in there I keep my socket wrenches in there. Those get rarely used, but they do come in handy. And then right in this bag here, I keep the little locking mechanisms for the Bora table, so they can be grabbed quickly. So those lock the table down to the legs. And just figured this out today, but trying out a extra impact driver, just kind of dropped right in here for a grab and go option. And I figured out with these Bott Perfo clips, if you remove the rubber piece, it kind of works awesome for an impact driver, just kind of drops on there. So hopefully that works out. Let's talk about the partition. So on the top here, I keep all my kind of regular in use adhesives, caulking. So I've got Type on 3, Type on 1, 2P10. These caulks kind of like rotate depending on the type of job I'm doing, but right now I've got just various things up there, but that works well. Having 8 spots there seems to be just about the right amount. We've got some bottle jacks here for putting in headers and changing window ROs. I've got some glass cleaner some tile cleaner, sponges, chalk line, some foam applicator gun cleaner, bunch of empty containers that I use for various things, but usually when I'm doing caulking. I've got cleanup kits, and behind there I've got an extra kneeling pad. Got some kneeling pads here, extra charger, extra saw stop chart cartridge, stapler. This is just kind of random stuff here, some PVC plugs. And then below that I've got, here, let's move this out of the way here. I've got all my longer clamps and a laser tripod nested in here, and then a smaller 2x4 bora table which gets used the most. And then down below we have some bora sawhorses which only come out when we have a big delivery usually. And then parked in front of the partition, I've got my vacuum with a clean kit on the top. I've got my table saw stand, and then behind that is a folded 2x4 bora tabletop. And my regular miter saw is in for repair right now. So for now I have this little guy in here, but usually the miter saw lives in this general area and it really doesn't slide around much. I've put about 20,000 miles on the van and haven't really had any issues. So yeah, the miter saw is just really convenient. Just plop it right there, and it's usually one of the first things that gets set up and one of the last things that gets put away, and works for me. So as we move around here, oh yeah, also should have mentioned, just tried this out for the first time today. We'll see if it lasts, but framing gun up here on the partition because it was taking up a ton of space in the shelves, and I just wanted to get it up somewhere else. And then also circular saw up here because a lot of times I'm kind of limited lengthwise with this shorter van, so sometimes I'll have to chop material at the lumberyard or at the job site as I'm cleaning out. So this is a good spot for this to be, just to grab it and go. On the driver's side now we have some coil nails and stapler, which rarely gets used. I've got some more specialty boxes here of just sorted screws, kind of like my backup supply and just weird things supply. So I've got some, wire nuts, cabinet supplies, wire staples, these little bumpers for cabinets, and door screws, random door hardware, drywall anchors. So that kind of takes care of some random bits there. On the subject of screws, I keep this little Magnet Craftsman bucket up here for just kind of like trail mix screws that are building up in my tool belt. And there's always just extra screws floating around, so I dump them in here, and then when it gets kind of overloaded, I'll dump it out and sort them. But that does a pretty good job of letting that kind of random stuff build up for a while. Down here, this one kind of rarely gets used, but got some longer lags, Simpson screws for joist hangers, some different drywall anchors, washers, and there's some more bits kind of tucked around, or more lags kind of tucked around the edges there. So that's that. This is my drywall kind of go kit that I've come up with. So let's pull this out and take a look. So in the top, we have just kind of the regular essentials for doing little drywall repair jobs. We do a lot more drywall hanging than finishing. So got drywall gun, and there's a rotozip tucked in here. Yeah, just little bits of drywall stuff. You gotta have a jab saw. There's a kind of sanding block in there, cheese grater block, and then various drywall screws organized in here. So we have 1 1/4 inch, 1 5/8, 2 inch, and then keep my extra utility knives in here because you go through them like crazy when hanging drywall, or at least I do. Extra rotozip blades. So that's that. And then let's just take this out on top of it here. And this box on the bottom is my Craig jig go kit. So I have all my Craig supplies in the top. for doing window casings and various stuff, door casings. And then below that is usually my supply of fine thread and coarse thread and exterior Craig screws, although I'm kind of running low on coarse thread right now. So that's that. Let's put those back. In the bottom here, I keep my nicer Forstner bits, which also rarely come out, but like to have them in the van. So those are Forstner bits down there. Kind of before we leave this corner, I should say that I like to tuck things sometimes in this little corner back in here. So there's actually some space behind here for tucking like rolls of house wrap, plastic sheeting rolls. So sometimes those will get tucked up there and kind of like just live in there for a few months as they get used slowly. But there's a lot of like hidden spaces behind this stuff for rolls of things. So I try to utilize that when I can. Up top here, I have my Viking arm jacks here. And then behind it, I have a Festool, like a rolling cart for my toolboxes, which on interior jobs, when you're going room to room, is handy. But that doesn't really get used all that often. And then I have some hose supplies and dust collection supplies up there. Moving down this stack, I have 2 coil siding nailers for doing wood siding. And then I won't show you in these because they're kind of boring, but I've got all my exterior flashing tape. We do a lot with zip tape, so this one's only zip tape and the zip roller, zip stretch. And then I have other exterior flashing tapes in here, various types. I keep caution tape in there for just various times when you got to block off a door or block off a work area. This is my interior tapes bin, so I keep like all my painter's tape, just random tapes, carpet tapes for doing just attaching things to other things, and keep also my packing tape in here for doing miter folds. This box is actually just full of cedar shims, which seems crazy, but I use them all the time and it gets constantly refilled for installing windows and doors, things like that. And then down here I have a bunch of manufacturer catalogs, window catalogs, door catalogs, just different catalogs I like to keep on hand to reference if I'm doing a site visit. And I also keep some merch in there. This stack, keep one of my job lights here, and this is always where I keep this blue rags box, because I'm easy to just grab them from there if you got, messy hands or something, you got to quickly clean something. I also won't show you inside here because they're pretty boring, but I'll describe what's going on. So this top one is all my framing, GRK and framing lags, and I keep them inside this sustainer in their box, so it's really easy to replenish them when they go low. This one's all trim GRK, cabinet screws, sometimes pro plugs, stainless screws, and then this is all nails, so it's different siding nails, roofing nails, galvanized nails. I do keep Tapcons in here. And then this one is framing gun nails. Down below, I've just got some random flashing and some extra sandpaper. I guess while we're on this subject, I keep my drywall T-square here. Big sausage caulking gun for flooring glue. And then I like to have 2 of these load straps here because I'm regularly getting sheet goods and taller things that need to get lashed down, and I like to have 2 just in case one pops free. But this driver's side will take a 4x8 sheet really nice, so that's what those are for. Up above I have my 6-foot level, 2 55-inch Tracksaw tracks, and one of my foam guns is usually chilling somewhere up here, kind of just sits there and doesn't move around too much. Some more clamps here. Moving down this stack, I've got a sustainer full of just like hand saws, hand planes, Japanese saws, things like that. They just kind of live in there, and I do want to kind of rethink this box. I think it could be better utilized, but for now that's what's in there. I've got my radio, some Festool batteries and charger. This is the Festool table saw, which has been a huge upgrade. I used to always carry a job site table saw like up here, and it was just really annoying and probably arguably unsafe to have that there because it's really heavy and seem to move around more than other things. So been loving this table saw, been using it a lot, and a lot of times I will not even set up my miter saw for a smaller punchless job. So I really only set up my miter saw for production work or larger exterior trim, I guess, because this guy can cross cut really well. And then in this final stack, I've got all my PPE up here, so all my dust masks, respirators, tons of safety glasses, and then I got my radio hearing protection, the regular hearing protection here. Some other earplugs are kind of down in the bottom there. I've got my Festool vacuum sander, which I use a lot for interior work, so we're not blowing up the space with dust. Down here is actually where all the router bits live. And then I keep it there because down below I have, it's worth showing this one. It's a little bit more unique. I've got my, oh, actually, I thought this was the router. This is just my Tracksaw. There's really nothing too special about that. I keep the connectors for the tracks in there, and I keep some of these sticky attachments to stick the track to things, which I'm always hoping I'm gonna have a need for, but so far I really haven't. In between these two, you can see what I mean about storing rolls of stuff. I have a roll of plastic in here, so I'm always trying to stuff things like that in the back. Yes, this is what I was going to show you. In here, we have my router, the big Festool router, which will take a 1/2 inch, has a 1/2 inch collet, and then my cordless DeWalt router fits upside down in here, and this is actually a base plate for the Rockler router table. So if I'm doing a trim job, I'll usually just bring that little folding router table with me and drop this in it, which works awesome. And then I also have my bushing guides in here, and just like other random little router tidbits live in here, other base plates and stuff. So that's actually been super nice to have all that fit in there, and it does fit. You just have to be particular about it. There it is. And then below these last two, I keep my laser levels, laser mount, and then some just grab and go L clamps or whatever these are called, quick clamps, just for when I need them. They're right towards the back of the van where I can grab them. Keep a framing square here clipped to the rack. I've got 2 air hoses here. I've got I think it's a 50 foot and 100 foot for various jobs. And then I've got my bigger work light here. Broom slides in there nicely, and I've got like 8 zip poles in this bag here. And this is Maine, so you got to have an ice scraper. That's always there for those surprise icy mornings. I think that is pretty much it. So yeah, in summary, feeling really great about the setup. It's taken about 2 years to get to this level of, I guess, optimization, but it's working well for me, and hopefully we'll continue to tweak it and make changes as things go. But yeah, hope you enjoyed.